Say, we have some yummy desserts for you today that you are gonna love. They're great for the summertime, but they're really good for any time of the year. Hey y'all, I'm Valerie, and welcome to our kitchen. We're so glad you're here. In today's video, I'm sharing 6 no-bake dessert recipes that I'm sure you are gonna love. Okay y'all, let's get started. This is a Butterfinger dream dessert, and it is amazing. I'm grabbing a bowl here for my cake. I'm using a 14-ounce store-bought angel food cake I got from the bakery at Walmart. And you're going to cut that or tear it into small bite-sized pieces and then set it aside. Now we're going to start on the creamy, dreamy mixture. So in a large bowl, you're going to add 3 cups of milk and a 5.9-ounce box of instant vanilla pudding. And if you forget how much milk to use, just know that I'm mixing mine according to the box directions. You're going to mix this with an electric mixer until it starts to thicken. Now we're going to add in 12 ounces of Cool Whip topping. I'm using 2 of the 8-ounce containers, but right now I'm only adding 1.5 of those. Now you're going to give that a really good mix. I just grabbed a 12-count package of the fun-size Butterfingers. I put them all in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag and crushed them with my rolling pin. I ended up getting about 1.5 cups, but right now I'm only adding 1 cup of those crushed Butterfingers to that pudding Cool Whip mixture. And if you wanted to, you could only add in 3/4 cup, and I think that would be good too. You can always taste it at the end and add more if you need to. Just stir those in really good, and now we're going to add in that cut up angel food cake. Then you're going to toss this around until it's all combined and that angel food cake is completely covered in that mixture. By the way, those Butterfinger bits do come in a bag already crushed if you can find them, or you can even use the Heath bits, but we love Butterfingers. And I just poured mine into a 9x13 casserole dish and I spread it out. Then I decided to drizzle on some caramel syrup, because why not? Then I'm going to take those leftover crushed Butterfingers and sprinkle over a really good layer. You can do this to taste. If you like it really sweet, add a really good layer. If you don't like it quite as sweet, just don't add as much. Now we're taking that remaining Cool Whip and you're just going to spread it all over the top. I just did this part gently, just so I didn't move everything around underneath. And to make it look pretty on top, I just drizzled over some of that caramel sauce and sprinkled over a little more of those crushed Butterfingers. And I'm going to put this in the refrigerator to chill for at least 6 hours or overnight. And I'll tell you, we didn't make it overnight with this one. It was absolutely delicious. This came together fast. Oh, and feel free to change up the candy bar in this. Like I said, you can also use the Heath bits. And I haven't tried it yet, but I bet you could do like some Snicker bars and chop them up with a knife and mix them into everything. I bet that would be really good. Or your favorite candy bar. You could do Kit Kat bars, Twix, or even some Reese cups. But the Butterfingers in here are delicious. This is a pistachio pie. And to make it, in a medium-sized bowl, you're going to add in 1 cup of whole milk, along with a 3.4-ounce box of instant pistachio pudding mix. Then you're going to whisk this or mix it with an electric mixer until it's thickened. Then you can set it aside for just a minute. Then in a separate large bowl, you're going to add in an 8-ounce block of softened cream cheese and 1 cup of marshmallow fluff. And I'll go ahead and warn you, this stuff is really good, but it is super sticky. That was a 7-ounce jar, by the way, and I didn't quite use the whole container. And I didn't even bother with putting it in a measuring cup because I knew it would be hard to get out, so I just guesstimated the 1 cup. I mixed that for a couple minutes with my electric mixer until it was well combined. Now you're going to take that pistachio pudding mix that we made up earlier and just add it right on into the marshmallow cream cheese mixture. After you add that in there, you're also going to add 4 ounces of Cool Whip. The recipe calls for half a cup of lightly salted, finely chopped pistachios. I just used the regular roasted and salted, and it turned out just fine. Now you're going to fold this together, try to keep it light and fluffy until everything is combined and mixed together. I'm just using a pre-made graham cracker crust. If you want to make your own homemade crust, I'm sure that would be even better, but this is what I'm using. Now I'm pouring in that pistachio filling, and you're just going to spread it out into an even layer. This does make a pretty good size thick pie. It's not too much though, it's just right. Now this goes into the refrigerator to chill for at least 4 hours or overnight. And you can decorate this however you want to, but I just dolloped on some of that leftover Cool Whip, and I actually put it in a piping bag and tried to swirl it on. And that didn't look the best, but it turned out fine anyway. I just sprinkled on some pistachios over the top, and it was good to go. This pie set up really good, and we loved the flavor. This is a good one too to make the day before. And then you can just wait to decorate it until the next day, right before you serve it. We gave it a 10 out of 10. These no-bake s'mores bars were so good. First, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my cereal. You'll need 8 cups of golden grams. And you do want to go ahead and have these measured and ready, because with this recipe, you have to kind of work fast. I also went ahead and got my pan ready. I'm using a 9x13, and I lined it with parchment paper, and I greased it very, very well with Crisco. Now over the stovetop, you're going to add in 5 tablespoons of butter, along with 6 cups of mini marshmallows. Oh, and also 1/4 cup of light corn syrup. We're also going to add in 1.5 cups of milk chocolate chips. Now you're going to cook this over low heat, stirring pretty good occasionally there until it's completely melted. Now you're going to remove it from the heat. I just slid it to the other side of the stove there. And we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. Mix that in really good until it's combined. And then we can go ahead and add in that cereal, that 8 cups of golden graham cereal. I stirred all this together until that cereal was completely coated in that chocolate mixture. Then I let this sit here for just a couple minutes to kind of cool down before I added the last ingredient, or the last thing. We're adding 2 cups of mini marshmallows. If you add them while this mixture is still hot, they'll just melt right in, so that's why we let it cool for just a minute. And I didn't stir that much, just enough to get it combined, and then we're going to head over to the counter with it. And this is where you kind of want to work quickly here to get that mixture in the pan and get it spread out and packed down into an even layer. And you see here my marshmallows ended up kind of melting anyway, but that's okay. I just had a few more and I added them to the top. And I did kind of press them down to make sure they stuck really good on there. I just let these sit out on the counter for about an hour until they set before I cut them into bars. And these are best stored at room temperature, by the way. Okay, we were really surprised with these. I mean, I knew they would be good, but they were even better than we expected. They were amazing. I think the adults loved them just as much, if not more, than the kids did. They were soft and kind of gooey, but you didn't end up with any chocolate stuck to your hands when you're holding them. But they were so good. You have to try these. This cherry yum yum does not last long at my house. To get started, I'm making up a graham cracker crust. To a medium-sized bowl, I added 1/3 cup of sugar, 2 cups of graham cracker crumbs, and 1 stick of melted butter. Whisk that until it's well combined. It should look like wet sand. I'm going to make this in a 9x9 inch baking dish. And I'm going to pour in only 2/3 of that crust mixture. I'm going to save the rest to sprinkle on the top at the end. Just spread out those graham cracker crumbs, and then you're going to pack them down really tightly in the bottom of that dish. I'm using my hands here, but sometimes I like to do it with a measuring cup. I put that crust in the refrigerator to chill while I start on the filling. In a large bowl, you're going to add in 1 packet of Dream Whip. I also added in 1/2 cup of milk. By the way, you'll find that Dream Whip where the pudding mix is at the grocery store. I mixed that with my electric mixer until it was thickened. Then I added in 3/4 cup of sugar, an 8-ounce block of softened cream cheese, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Now mix it until it's smooth and creamy and that cream cheese is well combined in there. Now we're going to grab that crust out of the refrigerator, and you're going to add only 1/2 of that Dream Whip mixture on top of that crust, and gently spread it out all the way to the edges in an even layer. Now you can really get creative here and add on any kind of pie filling you like, but I'm using a 22-ounce can of cherry pie filling. And you're just going to spoon that evenly over the top and make sure those cherries are nice and spread out. Now we're going to cover that pie filling with the other 1/2 of that Dream Whip mixture. In this part you have to do kind of very gently. You're going to spread it out all the way to the edges and just try not to move those cherries around. After you get that spread out, you're going to grab those reserved graham cracker crumbs and sprinkle them over the top. And that is all there is to it. This goes into the refrigerator to chill for at least 6 hours, or even better, overnight. This would also be good with like blueberry pie filling or even apple. You could even do peach pie filling. And I love to make this in the summertime, but I also love to make it for the holidays. It is a family favorite. Now I'm making a peaches and cream trifle. You're going to need 3 15-ounce cans of peaches, and I'm pouring mine into a colander here, and I'm going to drain them very, very well. And you can leave them like this, but I cut my peaches into little bite-sized pieces. Just make sure you drain off as much of that juice as you can. I set those aside. Now in a large bowl, I'm going to make up a pudding mixture. The recipe called for 2 3.4-ounce boxes of instant vanilla pudding mix. If you use the 2 small boxes, you'll mix that with 4 cups of cold milk. But I used a 5.9-ounce box, and for that box, the directions on the back said to mix it with 3 cups of milk. You're going to mix it until it's thickened, and since I used less of the instant pudding mix that was in the recipe, only because I didn't have the 2 small boxes, I added in about 4 ounces of Cool Whip to that mixture, and I just mixed it in. You're going to need some store-bought or homemade pound cake. I got these in the frozen section at the grocery store. I grabbed 2 of the 16-ounce packages, but I'll tell you, I really could have got away with only 1. I ended up using 1.5, but I really could have, next time I'll only use 1. So I cut that pound cake into bite-sized pieces, and then I placed a really good layer into the bottom of that trifle dish. If you don't have a trifle dish, you can always use a punch bowl if you have one. Now I'm covering that pound cake with 1/3 of that pudding mixture. And you want to try to keep these layers neat and all the way to the edges. That way it looks pretty from the outside. Then a layer of 1/2 of those peaches. Then we're going to do this again. Pound cake, 1/3 of that pudding mixture, and the other 1/2 of those peaches. Then you're going to do another layer of that pound cake. And at this point, my trifle dish was getting pretty full there. So I tried to smush it and kind of pack it down in there. Then I added on the rest of that pudding mixture, and I topped it with about 4 ounces of Cool Whip. And just for decoration and to make it look pretty, I just added some leftover peaches on the top. And you can chill this in the refrigerator until you're ready to serve it. This was so good, but I will say I will do something different next time. I think I'll do a little less, like a thinner layer of the pound cake, and more of that pudding mixture. because I just had so much pound cake in there. After it sat in the refrigerator, the next day, that pound cake kind of soaks up some of that pudding mixture. So next time, less pound cake, more pudding mix. Other than that though, it was delicious. I loved the peaches in there. And with that vanilla pudding and the Cool Whip on top, this was a winner. And I'm sure you could change up the flavor of the pudding mix and even the fruit. It would be really good with lemon pudding mix and like a blueberry pie filling. I'll have to try that. This lemon pie recipe comes from my mother-in-law, and she does hers a little different than I do mine, so I had to try it her way. So in a large bowl, I added in 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. And then I'm just using my electric mixer to just give this a good mix to get it nice and creamy. Now we're going to add in 2 cans of sweetened condensed milk. Now my cherry cream cheese pie that I make uses more cream cheese and less condensed milk, so I had to just kind of trust the process here. After I got both those cans in there, I decided to add in some lemon zest. I did about 1.5 tablespoons of that. Now for the lemon juice, she said that she uses the juice from about 4 or 5 lemons. So I did about 2/3 of a cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice. Then I used my electric mixer to mix this very, very well. Several minutes actually. I wanted to make sure this thing set up. And I'm just using a store-bought graham cracker crust. You know, they also make a shortbread pie crust. I wish I would have thought to get that one for this, but the graham cracker crust worked out just fine. And it looked like a lot of filling, but it all fit in that pie crust. And you're just going to gently spread that out all the way to the edges. Now I put this in the refrigerator and I left it until the next afternoon. I was just so worried about it setting up that I wanted to make sure I got it nice and chilled. And this one actually set up very, very good. It was a little more on the sweet side, which we love and didn't mind at all. So if you have a sweet tooth like us and you love lemon, you are going to love this recipe. It was creamy and lemony and perfect. Definitely a good summertime dessert. Y'all will have to let me know what your absolute favorite dessert is. Chocolatey, fruity, or even peanut buttery. We really hope you enjoyed this video. You may also like these. Don't forget to subscribe down below for more easy recipes, and I will see you in the next one. Lainey, for just a minute. Y'all, what happened? What happened? I'm trying to have a nice quiet intro. Oh goodness. Okay, I have to do some no-bake desserts here.
Bakelicious.
Yeah. Bakelicious. Let me hold you? Okay. But they're really great for any time of the year. In today, it's my microphone. In today's video, it's my microphone.
Is that Mama?
It's my microphone.
Microphone?
Uh-huh.
Oh no, Mama. You're missing it. Oh yeah.
But I'm telling you, everyone is gonna go crazy over.
Oh no, banana. Barn. E-ya, E-ya, oh.
E-I-E-I-O.
Here you go, Mama.
Thank you so much.
I'm a Barbie, Mama.
Thank you so much.
A peanut, a peanut.
On my fingers? Like this?
Mm-hmm.
Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. Thank you, baby.
Oink, oink.
Oink, oink here and oink, oink there. But there's a cow. Moo, moo here and a moo, moo there.